It starts like any ordinary day. You pick up your phone, but something isn't right. A strange line has suddenly appeared on the screen. You wipe the display. You restart the phone, yet the line refuses to disappear. Sometimes the line is green. Sometimes it's pink, white, or even several lines at once. The reason behind these screen lines depends largely on the display technology used. So before we investigate the fault, let's first understand the different types of smartphone displays. To understand why these screen lines appear, let's first look inside a modern smartphone. Although it looks like a single device from the outside, it's actually made up of several layers and electronic components working together. Many smartphones still use IPS LCD displays today. They are widely used because they provide excellent colors, wide viewing angles, and a lower manufacturing cost. IPS displays can get lines, but the famous green line issue is mainly associated with AMOLED, OLED displays. An IPS LCD screen cannot produce its own light. It needs a backlight behind the panel. The light first passes through a polarizer, then reaches the liquid crystal layer. The liquid crystals act like tiny shutters, controlling how much light can pass through. Finally, the RGB color filter creates the red, green, and blue colors that form the image we see. An IPS display relies on a common backlight instead of millions of self-emitting LEDs. Its failure mechanism is different. If a connection inside the display fails, the screen may show vertical or horizontal lines, flickering, or dead pixels. However, the well-known permanent green line issue is much less common on IPS displays. Unlike an IPS display, an AMOLED display does not need a separate backlight. Instead, every single pixel produces its own light. This allows AMOLED screens to display deeper blacks, higher contrast, and more vibrant colors. An AMOLED display uses an active matrix to control thousands of pixels. The display driver IC refreshes one row at a time while sending brightness data through the column lines. At each row and column intersection, a tiny TFT transistor stores the required voltage in a capacitor. This voltage controls the OLED subpixel's brightness. The process repeats up to 120 times every second, creating a smooth and stable image. The display driver IC refreshes the display one row at a time. While a row is selected, the column lines simultaneously deliver the brightness data for every OLED subpixel in that row. The TFT acts as a switch, allowing the capacitor to store the required voltage. This stored voltage controls the current flowing through each OLED subpixel, allowing every RGB subpixel to be controlled independently. Over time, repeated heating and cooling, mechanical stress, manufacturing defects, or physical damage can weaken an AMOLED display's driving circuitry. If the TFT backplane, column driver, or the bonding between the driver IC and the display develops a fault, the signal path for one color channel in an entire column can become corrupted. If the green channel is affected, all the green OLED subpixels in that column receive incorrect signals, creating a bright vertical green line. Although IPS LCDs can also develop lines, AMOLED issues are often linked to failures in the TFT backplane, column driver, or panel connections, affecting an entire column of pixels. The problem is gradually being solved as OLED technology, display manufacturing, and quality control continue to improve, making green line issues less common in newer smartphones. But if a green line does appear, can it be repaired? In most cases, it cannot be repaired through software. Since the fault usually lies in the display's driving circuitry or internal connections, software updates or factory resets won't fix it. The most reliable solution is to replace the entire display assembly.